So you want to learn how to trade Bitcoin, but you have all these different websites, exchanges, and tools, and all this stuff, all these people telling you different things on how to get started. Well, this video is going to help you kind of filter out all that mumbo jumbo and just get right down to business. And I mean right into it, like trading today. So pretty much this video is designed to go over Bittrex, which is a cryptocurrency exchange, how to trade on it, what everything kind of means, and just pretty much where to get started. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So here I have my test account set up, and I had deposited zero point 0.1 Bitcoin into my exchange account. So obviously the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sign up on bittrex.com, get an account set up, and then go to the wallet tab. And the wallet tab is just a list of all of the cryptocurrencies, all the altcoins that you can trade with. If you look at the top one here, it says Bitcoin. And then you have the symbol BTC. That's the ticker symbol for Bitcoin, if you didn't know. And you have a plus and a minus button right there. The plus button is to deposit Bitcoin. So again, if you're really new to this, this is here. This is your BTC deposit address. It's also represented in a QR code here. So if you had a friend that just wanted to send Bitcoin directly to the exchange, you can pull this up and take a snapshot and then send Bitcoin directly to this address on the Bittrex exchange. So I like to tell people it's kind of like your email address for Bitcoin, but there's no like @ or .com in there. Obviously, it's a cryptic address here. So I went ahead and I already deposited some Bitcoin to that address, and you can see your pending withdrawals, pending deposits, deposit history, and withdrawal history. It pretty much sums up everything going in and out of your account. And you can see here in my deposit history, I recently deposited 0.1 Bitcoin into my Bittrex account, and it's represented there. When it's incoming, meaning when you send the Bitcoin and it hasn't actually showed up in the exchange yet, it'll show up in the pending deposits section here. And usually Bittrex waits for like 2 confirmations, so that could take between 10 and 20 minutes to actually end up on the exchange. It all depends on how active the blockchain is in terms of like transactions going through the network and some other factors. Okay, pending withdrawals and withdrawal history, that kind of goes without saying. So at the top here, you have this bar. You have a market tab. You have two types of markets here. You have a Bitcoin market and you have a USD market. USD is the US dollars. So that means you can trade some of these altcoins or Bitcoin against the US dollar on this exchange. But what I really want to focus on today is what you're probably going to be starting off doing is trading your Bitcoin for other alternative currencies. So if you click this down arrow, it just lists all of the different altcoins that are on the exchange. But a better view of all of this is just going directly home to the Bittrex homepage here. And you can see the list of all of the currencies. Okay. So starting from the top, since you're brand new to this, this is just a banner. You know, these altcoins or cryptocurrency companies, they pay Bittrex to have their coin or asset promoted on the top here. So that's what you're going to be looking at. It's kind of like an ad, but it's not like Google ads, obviously. And what Bittrex likes to do too is they like to display the biggest gains, top volume, and some other parameter coins up here. Okay. And moving down into the live market data, we can see that we have this big list here, right? And what we're concerned about is the market. So these are all the different assets here that you can trade against with your Bitcoin. So once you have your Bitcoin on the exchange, you can trade any of these. Like, you can look at it like the stock market. Like, you can pretend that this is Apple, GE, Google, whatever. It's pretty much the same type of thinking, right? These are just like the ticker symbols for the altcoins. The currency, it's just okay. The currency is the full name for the actual asset. Volume is important here. This is actually really, really important. So usually more popular coins have a heavier volume, meaning that there are more people actually exchanging the Bitcoins for the altcoins in a given 24-hour period. So what this represents here, 113 Bitcoins of volume. That means 113 Bitcoins were exchanged. That means some seller and some buyer exchanged the coins. So if some seller was selling 1 Bitcoin worth of club and some buyer came in and bought that, that would represent 1 Bitcoin of volume. Does that kind of make sense? If you have any questions about that, just leave it a comment in the section below, and I'll be happy to answer in more detail. The percent change, obviously, that's you can look here. This asset went up 3.1%, and Singular DTV went down 10% today, and that is within a 24-hour period. Okay, last trade, that obviously represents what the last trade was, what the actual value was of that last trade, and that is represented in Bitcoin, and we'll get more into that in just a second. 24-hour high, 24-hour low, percent spread. I'll go over that in just 1 second. And then simply just the date that it was added to the exchange. And it's kind of cool to see. You can see a lot of the older coins in 2014. You have Dogecoin, Feathercoin, Litecoin, and it kind of just goes up from there. So, all right. So without further ado, let's just get right into a coin here, and we can see how it trades and kind of look at the chart. So let me just pick one at random here. Okay, let's pick XMR. This is Monero. This is a popular coin right now at this current time. Who knows, 2 years, 3 years down the road, if this is even going to be a thing. Monero is probably going to stick around for a little while. They have a good reputation going on right now. But as you can see here, you have a couple of things to look at, right? You have a whole chart, and you have different tabs above the chart. If I go to the 1 day here, you can kind of see a bigger picture, right? So what this means, we'll start off with the chart first, okay? What this means is 1 day, right? What does 1 day represent? 1 day represents one little line here, right? So tomorrow, there'll be another line that shows up here, right in this area. I'll zoom in a little bit. So we'll have another line that shows up here. Okay. If we go down, or if we go up to the 3 day, every line here represents a 3 day. And you kind of get the picture. A lot of people like to trade within the 1 hour. It's usually a default time frame to trade in for altcoins, but obviously you can trade in whatever time frame you want. There's tools here. I'm not really going to get into the tools. You can kind of play around with it. One tool you can use here is a line. You can kind of see the downtrend of a market. But I encourage you to look up some other videos on YouTube or subscribe to my channel to maybe learn some more of these tools. Order book. This is kind of difficult for some people to understand right away, and I get it. It's not really easy to understand just by looking at it at first, but once you know it, you kind of don't forget it. So on the x-axis here, right, we have the price of Monero, right? It goes from a really, really low price all the way to a really, really high price. And you can see this big red wall or blob, and you can see this green blob. The red blob is the stack of sell orders represented in Bitcoin. So on the y-axis here, it doesn't explicitly say Bitcoin, I don't think. No, it doesn't say Bitcoin, but 100 here means that there's 100 Bitcoins worth of that asset being sold here. And I can just kind of hover over it right here. So right there, right between the green and the red, do you kind of understand what that would mean? If not, that's okay. Green just represents the bulk of Bitcoin being bought at that given price. So the actual order book's moving like crazy because there's bots set up. But you can see here at 123, there are about 15 Bitcoins being or on the order book to buy Monero. And then if you go on the other side, you can see at a higher price, you have 40 Bitcoins being sold at 130, okay? And where these two meet is where the current market price is, okay? And if you didn't understand that, let me just scroll down here to look at the live order book here. So you have your order book, you have bids, and you have asks, okay? If you don't really know too much about the bid and the ask book, this is something good to pay attention to right now. So on the bid side, you have people that are willing to buy, that are willing to pay that money, that dollar or that Bitcoin for Monero, but they're not going to pay exactly what the market price is, right? So they're going to place an order that is a little bit lower, right? So this order book just represents a stack of orders at different prices that someone's willing to pay, that someone's willing to buy Monero for, okay? And kind of like the opposite on the other side of things, on the ask book, you have a bunch of people who are holding on to Monero. They're holding on to Monero, but they want to sell it for a little bit higher than what someone's willing to buy it for, okay? So inherently, that creates two sides, okay? So like you have here with the order book, the overall visual representation of the order book, you have two sides. You have a sell side and a buy side. And down here, it's just represented in numbers. You have a buy side and you have a sell side, okay? And there is a slight gap. There's a slight gap between the highest bid order and the lowest sell order, okay? And what that gap is called in any market, it's called the spread. The spread is the difference between the lowest sell order and the highest bid order. And when the spread goes to zero, that's when a trade is executed. That is when volume is created, and that is when you have a tick on this graph, if that makes sense. And again, if you don't understand that or you need more clarification, just leave a comment below and I'll kind of go into more detail. Okay, so on Bittrex here, when you place an order, your order will go into the open orders. And from what I can remember when I first started trading Bitcoin was I didn't know if I could place orders and cancel it without being charged, right? So if I place an order and then say, hey, you know what, I just want to cancel it for whatever reason you want to cancel it for, Bittrex or any other exchange is never going to charge you. They're never going to charge you to cancel that order. Okay, so that gives you a lot of freedom to place orders and take them off the books, right? And that enables all these bots on these exchanges to place orders and then take them away. And you can see right now that you have all these different orders appearing and disappearing, and those are just bots. Those are more than likely not like humans on their computer clicking around. Okay. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, You can see the market history tab. This goes without saying. It's pretty much what the last trade was, and you can kind of like go through the book here. You can see a lot of people have bought, and then a lot of people have sold, you know, and pretty much that defines the market, right? And then finally at the bottom, you have my order history. And again, that goes without saying, if you execute a trade and your trade goes through, if someone sells to your buy order, or if someone buys your sell order, it will show up in your order history here, okay? This side of things, obviously you have your last trade volume for the coin, bid, ask, and high and low. So that pretty much goes over that, okay? Quickly going over here, distribution. Distribution, this is how many people. So this is how many people that have this amount of Monero on the exchange at a given time. So this person in particular has 35,000 Monero on the exchange. It's pretty much like the wallet, like whoever has the most. And then number two, or number one, they represented by number one, they have 5,300 Monero, and it goes down. But it gives you an idea of like how many people are actually holding the asset on the exchange. And not all exchanges have that, because you can kind of manipulate the prices a little bit if you know what you're doing. But that's for something later to talk about. Okay, so you're ready to make a trade. You have your Bitcoin on the exchange. I have 0.1 BTC available. You've done your technical analysis. Your technical analysis is pretty much your charting analysis. You kind of figure it out where you want to buy, and you want to run with it, right? So you have two things you could do. You can place a buy order on, and it'll show up in the bid order book, right? And what I like to do on Bittrex is, instead of having to type in everything, I just kind of like click a price here and I'll edit it, right? So I'll put in a bid order for 120, right? And with this amount of Bitcoin, how many XMR could I buy? Now you could do the math, or you can just click the max button here, and that'll autofill exactly how much you could buy at that price, which is pretty neat. And obviously you don't have to do that. You can buy like 4 XMR if you wanted to. So I'll do that right now. So I'll buy 4 XMR at 0.012, right? And I'll do a limit order, and I want this order to stay in the order books until I cancel it, or until it's filled, until someone sells to me, okay? And then here it just represents how much you're going to be buying for. It automatically calculates the fees, and the fees are very, very little. Click buy, and it gives you another summary, a disclaimer. All orders are final once submitted, and will be unable to issue a refund. What that means is, if say you made a mistake, say you accidentally typed in 0.12 instead of 0.012 for the price. If you click confirm right now, it's gonna buy up the sell order book, right? And what the exchange is trying to tell you is, if you do that and if you make that mistake, they're not going to refund you. That's all on you. So just keep that in mind. Just be very, very careful with the numbers you're actually putting into the exchange here. Okay. So I'll click confirm right now, right? And it says XMR buy placed, right? If I scroll down here, I should now have an open order, which I do. I have an open order. It's a limit buy. Okay. It's at 120. I'm just taking away the decimal and the 0 there, guys. And it's telling me that I'm trying to buy 4 XMR at that given price. Okay. Now, if I go through the order book here, we should be able to find my order right here. It's represented by a star. That's just Bittrex's way of showing you that it is your order, or your order is sitting at that price. Now, where a lot of people ask or don't really know at first is other people could also place orders at that same exact price. So if you see your order here with a star and then you see like 100 Bitcoins on top of that, that's just how it rolls, right? Like someone could be asking for that amount of XMR for that given price. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. So in order for this trade to execute, we would need someone to sell all the way down to 120. Okay. And now that may never get filled. This chart could bounce all the way back up, right? So say we did our TA, and we know the price is going to go up. We want to react to the market. We want to buy what someone is trying to sell for. Okay, so instead of waiting for someone to sell to me, I'll go ahead and buy what is on the market on the spot. So I'll go ahead and cancel that order. And again, no fees are taken out for canceling. And I'll go here. And again, I can click to pre-fill this. And you can see that some people are selling for, again, the bots are going crazy, but people are selling like a bulk of 150, 60, whatever XMR. And we should be able to buy that no problem. So I'll just say, I'll just pre-fill here. I want to buy that. I want to buy 4 XMR. Click buy. Again, I want to make sure that my price is set up properly, and I'm buying the price that I am intending to buy. Okay. So I'll click confirm, and it'll say here XMR buy was filled, right? And you can immediately see that you have converted some of your Bitcoin to XMR. So this would be your first trade, right? So now we know we have 4 XMR, right? And now we have an order history. We can see that we bought 4 XMR at 127.9, right? And the whole point of buying and selling is to make a profit. So what we would want to do is we would want to take our 4 XMR and sell it for higher. So I'll put it at 137, okay? And again, I can click max to fill in 4 here. Again, look at the price and look here, and you can kind of see how much profit you'd be making. So pretty much you can use like a standard formula, like the measured minus the accepted over the accepted, or you could do what you bought for, or you could do what you're trying to sell for minus what you bought divided by what you bought times 100, and that is the percent profit that you would actually be making on the trade. It's just the percent difference formula. But anyways, okay. So we want to place a sell order. Click confirm, and it's going to say XMR sell placed. And again, our open order book will fill up, and instead of a limit buy, it's going to say limit sell. And it's going to say at 137 this time, because that's what we want to sell for. And if we go here, scroll up to the order book, we can see our ask for 4 XMR right at that level. So in order for that to get filled, someone's going to have to buy XMR all the way up to that price. And once that price is reached, theoretically your order should go through, and your XMR is now converted back to Bitcoin, right? And you should have more Bitcoin than you ended up having to spend for that XMR. And that is a complete trade. So pretty much that goes over the basics of trading on Bittrex. This exchange is awesome. If you're a New York resident, you're almost forced to use Bittrex right now. They have what is called the New York State Bit License. It allows them to operate in New York State. It's great, but not all the exchanges have their Bit License. So Bittrex has a decent amount of volume, but not a lot of the big players are on Bittrex right now. It's mostly Poloniex. Poloniex has like thousands of Bitcoin volume, And that's really where you want to be trading, because as you grow as a trader, you're going to be actually growing your portfolio, and as your portfolio grows, you're going to be making bigger trades. So if there aren't a lot of people buying and selling on a particular exchange, it might be more difficult to buy what you want and sell what you need to sell at the price that you want. So just keep that in mind. But again, if you're living in New York, you pretty much have no choice right now. Okay. But yeah, I really hope that kind of clears things up a little bit. At first it was a little difficult for me at first to kind of understand the fundamentals or the basics behind trading. It took me a little while to understand what the difference between the bid order book was and the ask order book, and kind of like what that spread meant, and like how there was a gap in the price in order to actually make a trade. And I think once you kind of understand the spread and the order books, you'll kind of get a really good idea of how these markets move. Once you can do that, I suggest looking at charts and understanding like the fundamentals behind it. Start researching on YouTube. There's a lot of awesome technical analysis or like charting analysis videos on YouTube. I encourage you to follow Chris Dunn or CR Investor. They are on YouTube and they're also on Twitter. You can talk to them directly there. And obviously you can find me on Twitter. I'm at BTC Kyle. I'm always available to answer any of your replies to my posts or any private messages if you have any questions. Part of the reason why I made this video was because I had a lot of people actually asking me on Twitter how to pretty much trade, because they were beginners. They were really getting into it, but they didn't really understand the fundamentals behind trading. So that encouraged me to make this video. And also, a lot of my friends and family have also wanted to learn how to trade, but they don't want to sit down with me. So I think it's better to make a video so they can understand on their own time and kind of look and ask questions later. So that was a big driver for this video. And yeah, so guys, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you're brand new to trading, subscribe to my channel. I'll have a bunch of videos coming out in the future. Definitely subscribe to me on Twitter. Let's get some conversations going. Leave a comment below if you have any questions at all. And as always, have a great day, make a successful trade, and kick ass.